Peace and blessings to everybody out there. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are feeling blessed, and I hope you guys are praying, fasting, and I hope you guys are being watchful in this time because we are in some perilous times. I just wanted to get on here and just to prophesy a little bit about what I've been shown. This is another vision that I was shown. Now, here's the thing. I am going to try to roll out these videos as often as I possibly can. You know, of course, within the time span that I do have to upload videos, of course, because we know that they're manipulating people's channels, they're purging people's content offline, and you know, as long as I still have a platform to put this up, I'll put it up. And like I said, it's not to receive glorification or anything, because these are not my words. These are from the Most High, and all I'm doing is just, like I said, prophesying about what is happening as well as what is to come. But mostly about what is coming. These visions, you know, I've been having them day by day, and I've said this before. And the thing is that it's not fun to have this. You know, I don't want to get up here and put a camera in front of my face. Like, I don't get enjoyment out of doing this. I don't get enjoyment out of putting the camera, you know, up to my face and, you know, just prophesying or trying to, you know, wake up the people. I don't enjoy doing that, period. Whatever purpose people have these days to get in front of a camera and just to start speaking, I don't have that same purpose. Because here's the thing, like I said, I don't get enjoyment out of doing it, but I know that I have to do it. With, of course, with the resources that I've been blessed with, I have to use it as a means to connect, you know, and not so much connect, but to transmit the message that the Most High has put into my spirit to transmit, to tell people. So it's important that I do that. Especially, we have to take advantage of the things that we have now, like this, you know, this virtual lattice that we're using, like this platform, social media, because pretty soon they're going to take it down, and you know, we already know that. But like I said, it doesn't bring me, you know, enjoyment to have to get on the camera, you know, and tell people these things, because at the end of the day, y'all still gonna call me crazy anyways. Let me take my glasses off because I feel like you can probably understand. But some of you gonna call me crazy anyways. You already calling me crazy. You know, anyone that I've tried to come in contact with outside of just this YouTube thing, you know, they have either been sent to me or they have been, you know, they've been told to completely cut all ties with me. You know what I mean? Not that there was ties even that was even you know, conjoined in the first place, but the reality is that somehow anyone that I come in contact with, anyone who's a target individual, you know, or who's being persecuted, let me say that, would know how that is. Like, anyone that you may sort of deem to be a likely, you know, friend outside of the ones who have conspired against you, the enemy has already sent that person to you, or they have completely gotten to that person, you know what I mean, to completely cut off access with you. And that's what it's been, you know. So I don't like to have to come up on here and do this. Like, if there was another way for me to, like, try to have to prophesy this stuff because I've done it before, you know, I'll do that. But I know that I have to do this, you know. So there's some people who can be able to see this video, and there's some people who can't. But the reality is that it's just, you know, I'm doing what I can. I'm only using with what I can. And I say that because, you know, some people have complained about them not being able to hear the videos. But the reality is that, like I said, it's not my fault. You know, I'm only using what I can. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go out there and spend money to go and buy equipment to try to amplify it just to, and at the end of the day, when they're going to go ahead and do what they do to my videos anyways. Like, they've been doing that. So that'll be a waste of money and a waste of time, to be quite frank. So whoever will hear it, And who needs to hear it will hear it. And I believe that. But this is a perilous time that we're living in, and a lot of people don't see, and I keep on saying this, and I hate to sound repetitive, but I have to, because people don't understand that you have a lot of people out there sending them false hope. Because as long as you believe that the Most High is not coming back until yay in the future, and that's why they always say billions and billions and millions of years, like these pseudo scientists, witches and warlocks, who tries to prophesy but don't prophesy about nothing, as scripture says, who say they've seen something, who say they've prophesied but don't prophesy about nothing but lies. They get people stirred up to believe such a lie, that gut. Because they know if people can believe that this is not going to happen for millions and millions of years, which cannot be even numbered. You can't even graph that. You can't measure. You cannot measure millions and millions of years. You see what I mean? And they say it like that because they know that everyday people's not going to crack out a ruler or a compass or anything of the sort to try to measure millions and millions of years and try to do the research themselves, because they know that it's not the truth from the beginning. But people have been fed these lies. And like I said, I keep on using the analogy of the paps. People have been suckled by the enemy, by these paps. It's like they can see the biohazard, sign on the paps. It's obvious. It looks rotten. But they'll still go to that pap to receive suckling. They'll still go to receive nourishment, to receive information, to receive guidance. These same people are going to receive suck from the pap, even though they can see that pap is rotten, it's desolate, it's withered, it's worn, it's black, it's cold, it's hazardous. They see that, but it feels good and it tastes good to them. That's what they care about. They're inebriated. They love it. They love living in Wonderland. That's what it is. They love living in Wonderland. And as long as they can continue to remain in Wonderland, they don't want to hear anything else. Nothing else. Even though they can see that it's obviously hazardous. But the fact that they're being suckled to sleep and they're being suckled when they wake up, that's what they like. They love it. They love it. And then here you have these people still today, and like I said, I'm in California, so, these people are in the streets. These are some of these same people out in the streets who I'm talking about. And others, not just here, but others all over the world, or this earth, should I say. They're doing the same things. And they're going to be doing the same things, where there's going to be civil unrest. People are going to be going crazy out in the streets because they've been suckled so much by this system, who is the prince, which is the prince of principalities, which is Satan, the prince of the air. He has used his spiritual wickedness and power to, take control over these world leaders who have willfully given their vessels up and yield their vessels to him to do and carry out his bidding. And that is to completely manipulate the people and to get their souls bounded to hell. Period. So that they'll get tossed in the lake of fire, because he knows that he's getting tossed in the lake of fire. He knows that. But to have those same people who's out there in the street doing that, all that yah 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 and rah 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 stuff, let us open up the gyms, let us work out, open up the restaurants, let us go and dine and spend money that you don't have, but spend money, and dine and wine and dine and look pretty. Let us go and do all that. That's what they want to do. It's them same people, because here's the thing, they recognize, even though they recognize that the biohazard, it's a biohazard on the pap that they've been getting sucked by. The pap has been giving suck to them. They've been given nourishment by the pap. They've been given information, and this, this system has literally given them so much information to the point where literally it's just enough to keep them mild-mannered, enough to keep their temper down. You know what I mean? It's enough. But the moment they start seeing that something's not right, because they are, However, they don't have the spiritual sight, that the Most High has given his people to be able to prophesy these things and witness to these people about what's going on. They don't have that, because if they did, they would already be called out of Babylon. They would, and they would be doing the same thing that we're trying to do, and that's to prophesy as well as to be a witness to these people and hold the testimony of the coming of Yahushua Ha'mashiach. And, these people, they see that something's not right. They see that. And it's obvious. Like, you know what I mean? For people who pay attention and who hold so dearly to the system, they can understand that something's not right. A lot of these people, have money invested in these banks. They have money invested in the system as a whole. They've purchased stocks, all of that type of stuff. So they keep track of that, especially when it has something to do with your money. Oh, absolutely. You're going to make sure that you're on duty to make sure that you keep track of your money. And as long as they see that happening, they see that something's not right. But they still cannot see that literally we are wrestling with spiritual wickedness in high places. It is the prince of the air, Satan, who has inhabited these people, and they've been overran by Satan. They've been overran by Satan, literally. But they are not going to be able to understand that. So I say, for those same people, I don't feel bad for them. Because, like I said, the Most High already showed me that judgment for man is already sealed. Not only that, but that his people is already sealed. So, in this time, all I'm saying is that the ones who will hear and hearken, chances are, for sure, their names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, and or they're sealed. Period. Now, for the ones who won't hearken, who will continue to hold firm to the system, to give them pap, to give them suck, okay? To nourish them back to sleep, okay? Because they like living in Wonderland, those same people, chances are the names is not written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Period. Period. And I don't have time to try to wrestle with those type of people. Because I'm going to explain something to you. There was one brother who I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to, that's not my job, is to try to, single anybody out. Because at the end of the day, I believe that the Most High will spotlight people and expose them. He's going to expose them. I don't need to do that. But what I do know is that I knew that this person, I had suspicion that this person was he was a phony. I had suspicion that he was. One of the red flags, well, first of all, let me say this. He connected with me on YouTube, commented under one of my posts, and then asked if I wanted to chat. Okay, usually I'm not so forthcoming with giving my number out. But in this instance, I'm like, okay, whatever. Because I'm not scared of these devils either. Like, I'm not afraid to give my number out and then have to worry about, oh, damn, they have my number. Oh, they keep on calling, they're going to prank call me. No, it's simple. I'm just going to block your ass, delete your messages, and keep it moving. And as well as break covenants that I've made with you, as long as I know what I'm dealing with. Because that's on a daily basis, So I know what I'm dealing with. But first red flag was that I emailed him, sent him my number, and I told him, I gave him instructions, specific instructions on when he should call me, because I said, do not call me on Saturday. I will call you on Sunday because Saturday is the Sabbath. I didn't say that, though, that Saturday is the Sabbath. But I just assumed that he knew that because he claimed that he's in the truth, this and that. So I'm like, okay, what's the point of me having to hold a phone call with you on Saturday when I'm worshiping? You know what I mean? I'm resting with the Father. I'm thinking and meditating on the Word. So what do I need to sit up here and have a conversation with you over the phone for? He still does what he wants to do. First red flag. Also, I saw many other red flags where he was just, just saying little things. The enemy will tell on himself. And the Most High, he's given us spiritual authority to trample over serpents and scorpions. So he's given us a spiritual discernment to be able to decipher these devils. And they're cold. So, they try to appeal to you by a similar experience. And they use that as a means to try to make you fall, prey to that. and sort of try to sympathize with it, on a relative level, because you've gone through a similar experience and they come in the form like that. And I've kind of already knew that. But this is the thing. When he first started, I first started talking to him, because it wasn't long. It wasn't long. I was only talking to him for like a week. Maybe even like a week and a half. And I had a dream about a year ago. And it was about this person who came into my life to try to deceive me. Or not so much come into my life, but they tried to become as a friend and deceive me. And that dream kept on popping up in the back of my mind every time I thought of this person, especially when this person came on the scene. And I didn't understand it until I had a dream. The Most High showed me another dream, and this person was in it. This is after I started talking to this person. And this person is very smart. Very, 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 very smart, cunning, just like how Satan is. But I don't give a damn about none of that, because you can't outsmart him. You can't outsmart his spirit, especially when he's poured it out on you. Because don't think that you had me fooled by a long shot. Trust me, I already knew what you was, devil. I knew exactly what you was. And I knew that you was only sent to me to try to get information out of me. Because what they like to do is that when they know that you're being used by the Most High, especially when the Most High is showing you things and you're seeing in the prophetic, they try to come and they want you to reveal all that stuff to them so that they can take it and then run with it and then go on their channel, make it, and then twist it and turn it and make it look like as if the Most High showed them that, when in fact it is literally it's not even my words, like I said before, but it's his. But he showed it to me, but they're gonna pitch it out like as if the Most High showed it to them, when they stole it from the Most High, because it ain't from me. Like I said, I take no credit from none of it. But that's what he tried to do. But I had a dream, this person, and the theme of it was deception. So I'm going to tell you like this. And this is all relative to the topic that I have today. The theme of it was deception. Okay, so in this dream, he was in it. And there was this long, palm tree. And I know that jackfruit does not grow on palm trees. But I'm just saying this in this is all spiritual, symbolically spiritual. But I'm going to show you, I want you to listen, because this is how Satan uses things that we like. Because he knows what we like, he knows what we dislike. But Satan knew that I liked jackfruit. I love jackfruit, okay? And it was a long palm tree and it was so long to the point where it arced over. It had an arc to it, like this hump. And it was so curvaceous to the point where it literally extended or curved over, to this building, which was completely, how you have these tenant black buildings, it's like office spaces where, the person in the office can see outward, but the person on the outside cannot see in. That's how it was. This building was completely tinted. It was completely black. So I knew that wasn't a good sign, for one, because obviously they can see out, but I can't see in. And this, like I said, this palm tree with jackfruit was arcing over to that building, and in between the building there was this extension from one building to the next, almost as if there was an elevator, and then there was this connection to the building, this hallway, this little hallway, but it was outside. And of course, to get into the building, you would go inside. But this palm tree arced over to it, and it was jackfruit. But for whatever reason, I felt the need to climb up to the tree and get the jackfruit, because I wanted it. I love jackfruit. I'm like, oh, fresh jackfruit. You know what I mean? And Satan knew that I was going to fall for that. And excuse me, I'm eating a little bit too. But he knew that I was going to fall for that. So that's what he used. Something that I like. To deceive me, to climb up to the tree and make it over. And let me tell you something. It took me a while to climb up that tree because it was long, it was tall. But once I made it over, because it was arced over to that building, I finally made it over. And once I tried to grab the jackfruit, do you know that it wasn't jackfruit? It wasn't jackfruit. It wasn't jackfruit at all. It was like it had dissipated. And I was able to see in the building, and I saw people who were literally Decepticons, who literally, they made the hologram of a tree with jackfruit just to try to get me over there to the ark. And the dude that's on YouTube, that has a YouTube channel claiming to be a target individual, all that, he was in the dream. So I knew then that the theme of that was deception. And Satan tries to use the things that you like, and he appeals to the things that is familiar to you. And that's what these people do. They try to appeal to the things that is familiar to you, of what you know. So, for instance, I'll say, that person tried to come to me in the form of a target individual because, of course, that is familiar to what my experience is. I'm getting persecuted, so that person is going to take on the role as being a target individual and being somebody who is going through persecution just to try to get information out of me. Okay? And to try to get you to do witchcraft as well, because that's what they do try to do. But he didn't already show me that that person is attached to witchcraft as well, because I was shown that in the vision. And I'm going to tell you something. This is when I cut ties, too. Was that when he started to ask me about what visions I was seeing. He said that he was seeing stuff, too, in the spirit. Kept on saying, oh, I was seeing in the spirit. I was seeing in the spirit. Oh, what did you see? I didn't even type. But he said, oh, you care to share? Because they always want you to share your experiences first, just so they can try to make it look like as if they're having it, and take from what the Most High has shown you, and then develop their own scenario, just to try to cloak the demonic spirit behind them, just to cloak it. And right before I can try to say anything, I wasn't going to relay any of the things that were shown to me because I knew I wasn't supposed to. But just to try to, before I even said anything, a response of, oh, I can't say this, I can't say that. Before I said anything, bam, it was a vision. And let me tell you what I saw. I saw inside of a house, and there was a woman. And usually, I know the woman represents the church, just like in Revelation, where it represents the woman who will bring forth a child, the man-child, stuff like that. I know that represents the woman, the church of Israel. And there was like this flame, this candle that was like off-center, but it was like, it was the focus. I knew that was the focus. So like the light, which is, the anointing. I knew that was the anointing. I knew that. And what happened was that in the background, it was almost as if like, it wasn't blurry, but I can see that the woman, the whole room was lit up by this flame, this candle, which I knew was the light that lit up the house. And the woman being the church. And the light being representative of Hamashiach, which is the anointing. The anointing, the Holy Spirit, the Father, the truth, all of that. I knew that was representative of that. And then literally it pans out, and then I see the outside of this house, but I can still see in, and I saw beneath the window, because it panned out and there was like this window. And it showed that is exactly what this person was looking at, was looking into was a window. And this thing, it was like a beast, and it was like hunched over. It had like this deep arc in its back, and it was hunched over, slimy, green, disgusting. Just like, I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like that beast from Lord of the Rings, the precious beast. It looked just like that. And it panned out, and then it like ran away. You know what I mean? Like it panned out, not the beast, but the sight of what I was seeing panned out of the window, so I can see the outside of the house. Room still lit. I can still see the candle. I can still see the woman in the house. And then the beast was spying on the woman, and then literally ran away somewhere. But I knew what that meant. That meant that, of course, that person is attached to witchcraft. I already knew that. But that person is attached to witchcraft. And also, Satan is sending his minions to literally to literally spy on the Most High's people, which is the church, and to try to steal their light. To steal their light. That's it. To steal their light. That's it. I mean, but they can't steal it for one, because for one, there's no light in them. But that's the whole point of them trying to steal it. So, I tell you this to say, this is the time where you need to be really careful, because when it starts really getting bad, these same people are going to be popping up. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've seen in many instances where they have sent people that I haven't seen for years. I mean, for years. They've sent them. And they wouldn't even so much say anything to me or interact with me, but they would be near me. Like, I can be at the grocery store, and I would see somebody I haven't seen in 10 years, because I have a very, very great photographic memory, and I thank the Most High for that. I can forget a name in an instant, but a face I'll never forget. Never. It holds firmly to my memory bank. I will never forget a face, and as long as I remember your face, oh, I can find your name somewhere in there. You know, so that's the thing. Anytime that I've seen something like that, they've sent like someone that I haven't seen in years. You know, and they won't, like I said, so much interact with me, but they'll have them near me, just so that I will know that person and be more quote unquote paranoid. You know what I mean? But you know, all I say is that don't fall for that stuff, because you're going to see that, and it's going to even be people that you know that's going to try to deter you off from what the Most High is trying to tell you. He's trying to ordain you to do. He's trying to send you, because it's going to come a time where we have to literally flee. That's the truth. We are. We are. Excuse me. I'm sorry. But let me read this. Then I saw a bowl that was traditionally made with wood, sitting on a wooden table, and in this bowl was food being released into the bowl, the same way you would pour a bowl of cereal. Then a pair of hands picked. Okay, well, let me stop there. Okay, so I said, then I saw a bowl that was traditionally made with wood, sitting on a wooden table, and in this bowl was food being released into the bowl, the same way you would pour a bowl of cereal. So I say it like that because when I saw it, it was almost as if like the bowl that I saw, you know, I saw it in the aspect or the angle of the table, the bowl, you know, and then the food being poured into this bowl, not so much as like somebody just like casually pouring it in there, but it was done such in a way where it was almost as if like somebody was trying to entice my eyes, you know, tickle my my appeal, to try to get me to, you know, loathe over it, or try to get me to want it, to crave it. You know, it was almost like teasing my eyes. Like, that's exactly how it was. Like, if somebody, you know how the cooks on the cook show, how they cook and prepare their food, and then once it's all done, you know, for those people, some of the audience can get to taste it, but some of them can't, and then, you know, some of them can, and I mean, well, some of them just don't allow for the audience to taste it. But they'll have a plate of it, and they'll cut it so nice and fine with the fork, you know, a little piece of it, and then they'll take a little piece of it, and then eat it and say and do all this over exaggerated crap, just to try to entice the audience to want some, you know what I mean, to crave it and loathe over it. That's how it was. Then a pair of hands picked up the bowl and revealed this person, the person whom grabbed it, And the person who grabbed it, it looked like a Neanderthal-looking man that quickly shapeshifted into an upright standing ape. Now listen, I don't want people to get, because some people, I know it sounds wild, because I know a lot of people, they're probably thinking like, oh, okay, well that's, what? It's an ape, a beast? What? That don't make any sense. And people don't understand, like, the Most High speaks to you in ways where he knows that he's going to show it to you in a way where you can understand it, but also you can interpret it to be able to relate the understanding. So he's not going to show you something that's very, very complex to understand unless he just doesn't want you to tell it. Because that's something that I've noticed, is that anything that I cannot interpret or understand right off the bat, when I'm being shown, I know that I'm not supposed to say it. And the interpretation might come later on. And that's the thing. So I don't want people to think like, oh, this is somehow, oh, well, you're seeing apes, you're seeing Neanderthals. That's like representative of, you're making your own interpretation. So I'm going to tell you what it is, okay? So you don't need to sit up there and try to make your own interpretation of it, because that's what a lot of people have tried to do, like that other brother. He tried to act like, that's why they like to hear what the Most High is showing you, and they still on here doing that. They still going to be doing that. They go and look at our channels just to try to see what they find, just to come up and use, just to come up with all sort of other, scenarios on what's happening to make it look like they're seeing in the prophetic and all this other type of crap. Like, I don't got time for those people. And if you are one of those people, the Most High rebuke you. Period. So, let me just read it, and then I'll give you the interpretation. But not only did I see just this one beast, I'm just going to say beast, because that's what it was, whom was on the right, but also another one on the left. So, the beast that was on the right is the one that grabbed the bowl after I had seen it being poured, after, the contents were being poured into the bowl, and then I saw the hands grab it, and I saw the person who grabbed it, and that person began to like eat it, almost like entice me, like ha ha ha, like you could have had this, but nope. Like it's almost like I said, they were pouring everything into the bowl, and it was almost as if like they were showing it like, oh, you see that beauty, look at that, that looks good, doesn't it? Like I said, just like how the talk show cook hosts do. Doesn't it look good? Doesn't it smell good? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, nope, it's not yours. And then he starts teasing me with it. Like, that's exactly what it was. And it was not only one on the right, but it was one on the left as well. And then I said, then I got the urgency to run through the two of these upstanding beasts. Upright standing beasts. Not upstanding, excuse me. Upright standing beasts. And they both aggressively grabbed one of my arms. So I was like, it was almost as if like, forward, I was going to run forward, but they were like, they had it blocked by way of like, it was cloaked, it was like a veil that was in front, but I can get through it though. But it was almost as if like I got the sense of urgency to run through it, like I knew that was, all of what I was seeing was negative, and I needed to leave. I needed to go. Run. And I tried to go forward, but one of the beasts grabbed one of my right arms, and then the other beast, the one that was on the right, grabbed my right arm, and the one that was on the left grabbed my left arm, like this, and held me. So, and then I'm going to tell you what happened next. And with force, I burst through them. So I jacked their hands away and I went right through them. Which revealed immediately a very open, wide space, that of a football field, which I cannot measure. Now as I charged through, I ended up witnessing a fleet of people charging right behind me. So when I went through that veil, and what was revealed to me was this open, wide space of like a football field. But a little bit further, in the distance, I could see, fences, almost as if like we were barricaded in. And I still noticed, this fleet of people behind me running forward as well. And I said, and then bullets started flying from every direction, piercing us all. While bodies were falling limp, I managed to keep my eyes set on one guy in particular. He was a brother that had a purple football jersey shirt on, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't make out the numbers on the jersey. Once he collapsed, so once he fell, I fell, with my eyes still fixated on him as he dropped to his death. And then a soldier dressed in this all-white monolithic gear hovers right over me and then gashes me in the face with the handle of his weapon. So it was like I burst right through them. And then right when I burst right through them, a whole fleet of other people burst right through those two, beasts, and bullets from every direction started hitting us from every direction, almost like we was getting ambushed from. Well, I guess more so it wasn't like an ambush because I'm sure we knew, but one could say that we was ambushed with bullets, and it was shooting all of us, and we're all like hitting the grass. And one guy in particular, it was this brother who had this purple football jersey on with white numbering. And I couldn't make out the number. I can't even tell you what number it was, but I can tell you he was in a purple football jersey. I knew he was a brother, and for some reason, I don't know why I couldn't take my eyes off him. I don't know if he was probably someone that was familiar to me. I don't know. But he fell. And once he fell, that's when I fell. But I still was able to see him fall to his death, where they eventually, he was executed by the bullets that was piercing his flesh. And I can't tell you how many bullets went into my flesh, but I know for certain that when I did hit the ground, or when I did hit the grass, this soldier in this monolithic all-white gear came, and he had this long weapon, and the handle of it, he turned it around to the handle, and he gashed me right in my face, and that was the end of that. So this is what I wanted to tell you. Now, I asked him to give me the interpretation of this because this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what? Apes? What? I'm like, what is this? Everything else in terms of me seeing the bullets and all that I understood. I understood all that. But I didn't understand the bowl, the table, the apes. I didn't understand that. And I'm going to tell you what it was. So, the bowl. Okay, so this is a perfect. Okay, so take this for instance. Excuse me. This right here. I mean, of course, the bowl was a lot, more it wasn't this tall. It wasn't this tall for sure. It was flat and a lot more deep. It was a lot deeper. The depth of it was deeper, and then the circumference was a lot wider. Of course, because you know how a bowl looks, but this is a container. But I just want you to think in your mind of what a bowl looks like, because we all know what a bowl looks like. But it was this bowl, right? The contents were not in the bowl yet, but I'm just using this for reference. But literally, I saw the bowl placed on the table, okay? And it was the contents being poured into the bowl. But it was being done in such a way where it was in trying to entice me, oh, this is what you could have had. So, that bowl and the contents of it in the bowl is representative, symbolically representative of the things that we, or should I say the Most High's people, are going to refute, which is sin. And of course, with sin is the foundation. Sin is the foundation, okay? And of course, the mark of the beast, in order to actually have the mark, you will basically have to be assimilated to sin. Okay? So let's get that straight. So sin is the foundation, okay, to what these people will accept by worshiping the beast. They will accept sin, meaning that they will assimilate to sin and therefore worship the person who is being used by this Apollyon Abaddon spirit, which is, of course, the Antichrist. They will worship the beast, and he is a part of the beast. Because it's two parts, and like I said, the false prophet is a part of it, as well as the person who is physically inhabited by the spirit of the abyss, the spirit of death, the Apollyon Abaddon spirit. Okay? That is the one that they're going to worship. And that, the apes, are representative of the system and of the beast system. Because remember I told you it was two parts. So that's what the apes represent, of them being beasts. Represents the beast system. So, when I tell you that I saw the bowl was to let us know that this is what you rejected. This is what you could have had. Showing us that this is what you could have had. Pouring out all the contents, everything. All the jewelry you could have had. You could have been able to buy and sell. You could have been able to have a car. You could have been able to do this and do all of it if you would have just assimilated to sin. If you would have just have worshipped the beast. You could have had it all. So that is why the beast literally took the bowl and started eating it, saying, oh, nope, took it off the table and started eating it, saying, oh, see, this is what you could have had, but you ain't getting it now. So I said, okay, please. When I didn't understand the bowl, I said, Father, please show me the interpretation. He showed me the interpretation. And then I saw that same bowl literally falling, hitting the pavement, and then turning to dust. So what that means is that because we won't accept, the Most High's people won't accept, and some of us will be martyred, absolutely. Some of us will be martyred because we won't accept the beast. We won't accept the assimilation to sin. We won't worship the beast. Whatever anybody, let me say this, if anybody decides to eat of the portion of sin, because that's what it means, the portion of sin, okay? If anybody decides to eat from the portion of sin, which is the foundation of the beast, is sin, which is Satan, okay? So if anybody decides to eat from that portion, you are worshiping the beast. You are assimilating yourself to sin. And by it hitting the floor and turning to dust, death comes from that. Death. And not only does death come from you who worship it, but death comes to those who will reject it as well. Because we rejected it. So that's why you then saw how the beast grabbed my hands, the two of my hands, to try to restrain me, to make me think, hey, you're going to think twice about it? We just showed you what you could have had. Even at the last minute, because that's how Satan's going to do it. He's going to do it like that. Even at the brink of the end. At the brink of the end, where he knows he's about to get tossed into the lake of fire, he's still going to try to get you to change your mind. He's still going to try to get the Most High's people to change their mind. Literally. He's still going to try to do it. You're going to think about it? Oh, think about it. Get your hands off of me. Bam. I proceeded forth. And once I went forth, everybody else didn't even think twice. I can't even tell you if the beast tried to stop all of them, and say, oh, think twice about it. Remember, you're not going to be able to buy and sell. Remember this. When in all actuality, they're going to kill you anyways. But Satan wants you to still desert the Most High so that he can have your soul. Even though he already knows that you're still going to be martyred. And that's the reality. And that's what that means. And of course, the whole ambush of them killing us, that's the martyring that's going to take place. Now, I can't go into detail and talk about, okay, where is it going to take place at? Where are they going to try to take us, to try and kill us? I'm not here to do that. All I can do is just tell you and prophesy to you what is coming. And to let you know that we are definitely in that time. Like, there's not going to be a time, and I already done told you, and many people didn't told you, not even me, but many people didn't told you, before I even came on here and tried to add confirmation to the truth that, the 44th president is the one who is going to be, or is inhabited by the Abaddon Apollyon spirit. He is the Antichrist, the last and physical representation of Satan, who was indwelt by Satan. Okay? So people need to understand that. I didn't already, it's there, it's obvious. Do you think that it's going to be, think about how old this person is. You think that it's supposed to happen, when he's 80? or 90 years old? No. Like you gotta really think here. And no man knoweth the daytime nor hour. Absolutely. But I can most certainly tell you this. And I say this not to be boastful. I say this not to be arrogant. I say this not to be pompous, not to be self-assured or anything of the sort. I say this because I have faith in what my Abba has shown me. I have faith in Yahushua Ha'mashiach. But I can sure enough tell you this. There won't be a 2023, 24, and on. Not even a 2022. So if you want to go in there and try to think that you can create a timeline and say, oh, so you're saying it's going to happen? Look, I didn't already told you what I didn't already told you. I have faith. I have faith. Based off of what I've been shown. I had those dreams 8 years ago. That was before I had understanding. I was being shown that. So you can basically say it was 10 years. 10 years from that. If I go back and then I say 10 years from those dreams that I was shown that we were going to be in the precipice of the end times, I would have believed it. And nobody would. Absolutely not. One brother, I was witnessing to had the nerve to try to, interrupt me in the midst of prophesying. Just to say, oh, what's different about you saying that the world is going to end in 2020? This was before 2020 actually hit. I told him what was coming. But I was never saying that the world was going to end. I never said that. Never said it. See, he put words into my mouth. What's different about you saying that the world is going to end in 2020 and all these other nutty people then came forth and said it, and we're still carrying on? I said the only difference is that they gave you a timeline. I never gave you a timeline, nor did I ever tell you what day it was going to happen. No, but he did give you a season to look for. He gave us a season. Because here's the thing. One sister said, and I resonate with it, because these are not my words. This is the Most High's words. But one sister said, and it resonates with me. She said that it's not going to take the Most High's people by a thief in the night. And I understand what she means by that. It's only going to take the ones who are blinded, who are cursed with a strong delusion. It's only going to take them like a thief in the night, because they are not prepared, nor are they watchful for the end. See, it's not going to take us like a thief, because we already know what time we're in. And even if you're unsure, you feel it. You feel it. You feel it. I know you feel it. I know you feel it. And people think that the economy is just going to bounce back like it is, and people are going to go back to school. They're going to be able to go, and the bars are going to, they're going to open up a few bars and let you go and party and drink your life away. Oh, that's what Satan wants. Just like how I just explained to you, just like how it is in that vision. He's going to want you to eat from the portion of sin, from that bowl, because that's what you're going to accept. Now, if you're not of the covenant, if you're not a part of the covenant of Yahushua Ha'mashiach, then of course you're going to accept that portion and continue to eat from that portion, the foundations of sin. You're going to continue to do it. You're going to worship the beast, all of that. All of that. But if you're someone who's not going to do that, and you understand, he's giving you, the Most High is giving you, the understanding to be able to wait, to be able to weave through these things, then of course you're not going to be trapped nor blindsided by anything. Like, we understand it. It's not hard to see that. This is a society that has never worked. It's very crippling. Anytime that you got kids literally starving on the streets, and then all people can do is come up with an explanation and put blame on the parents. Yes, they are to blame, but listen, this is how it starts. If these disgusting people did not put liquor stores on every corner in our communities, if they didn't get these witches and warlocks to cook up, these scientists to cook up, chemists to cook up drugs in their facilities, okay, and then sell them into these communities, you wouldn't have the pandemic. You wouldn't have it. You wouldn't have any of this stuff going on. That's just the reality. But at the end of the day, it boils down to the amount of power and ownership that we give Satan. We are fueling. As long as you are assimilated to sin and you allow it in your life, you are literally fueling the system that keeps us all in bondage. Because I don't know what anybody's sitting up here talking about, oh, you got to break free, break free, break free. We still all in bondage until Yahushua comes back and murks the place. That's what I see it. But you're not in. You don't have to be so much in a mental slavery, because of course you're freed by that, by being able to see, beyond this physical layer and see into the spirit, and notice that we wrestle not with flesh and blood, and we wrestle with the principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So that is what it is. That's what it is. That's really truly breaking free from bondage. But at the end of the day, spiritual bondage. But at the end of the day, for us to be completely relieved from Satan and living in this zeitgeist of a wicked system, it's going to have to take the destruction of Babylon, and that is going to happen. And people think that I'm nihilistic by saying that I'm happy that Babylon is going down. This is a system that I don't like. I've never liked it, honestly. I've always tried to overly assert myself, or overly, try to compensate for, the things that's happening, or why I need to, continue to subject myself into a system that literally just doesn't want to do anything but rape me, beat me, abuse me, and get my soul in hell. So it took me a long time to understand that. And like I said, I come on here doing nothing but to prophesy to you and tell you what thus saith the Most High. And you got to have faith, y'all, especially in this time. We have to have faith. Like, it's going to boil down to the amount of faith that we truly, truly have. Absolutely. And the martyrdom campaigns is coming. They're coming for the Most High's people. Absolutely. And it has to happen. It has to. But these same people who's holding on to this world, who doesn't, because they don't want it to end. They don't want it to end. That's why a lot of you who were like, oh, you crazy, just like all the other ones. Listen, like I said, I can say it with faith, not with confidence, not with self-assurance, not with arrogance, but I can say it with faith to say that we ain't going to be here in 2022. 2022 can come. Because I know all of y'all going to watch this and be like, oh, I can't wait until 2022 come just so I can show. This is the same dude who sat up here on YouTube and said that the world we wasn't going to be here in 2022. Just so you can try to prove a point. But the reality is that you ain't going to be able to, because YouTube going to be gone for number one, and half of this whole system going to be murked by then. But see, they want y'all to believe that mess. All the ones who went and to get sucked by the beast, y'all like the way it tastes. Even though, like I said, you can tell that the biohazard, it's all there. You can see the biohazard that's in the red flags, the red alert, red alert, red alert. You can see all of that. But you don't care about none of that, because it tastes good, it makes you feel good. You like Wonderland. These are the same people who's going to be rah-rah-rahing in the street, destroying stuff, all that. Oh, our government did this to us, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be the same ones doing that. The same ones. And still not have understanding. And that's not my fault. It's not. So, I'm done. I'll get on here. Y'all say the same. And I'll share another vision and dream with you guys, and some encouragement to the people. This is a beautiful time that we're in, and scary. I'm not going to lie, it is scary. But it also is a beautiful time. It really is, because to know that this system that has done so many of us in, so many of our ancestors in, is going to be destroyed. That's a beauty. That's a beauty. Because then we'll really truly be doing what the Most High intended for us to do from the beginning, and that is obedience. Anyone who wants to rebel, who doesn't want to be obedient to the Most High, then you are a bad seed. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. You're a bad egg out of the bunch. You've gone bad. You know, well, you don't have to be. You know, but that's a choice that you've made. So we need to understand that. You know, and it stems from, you know, at the beginning, it's never been for us to, you know, have to be subjectified to these things that we see that's going on, like how Satan is the prince of the air, who has control over this system that we see. It was never intended for it to be like that, but it's just so simple as, you know, people are not, they're not taking accountability for their actions, and they're trying to point the blame on someone without taking full responsibility and admitting and confessing and repenting for your transgressions against the Most High. And that is completely going against the order of the law of obedience, because that's number one, is the law of obedience. When you are operating in the law of obedience, everything else, every command falls in alignment with that. It falls in alignment with the law of obedience, period. And the Most High tried to give Adam and Eve at the beginning, gave them ample opportunity to admit their transgressions and their fault, but they didn't do it. You know how a parent tries to scold their child, you know, and of course a child not having the exact intelligence of an adult, but you try to teach them intelligence by trying to guide and steer the conversation into a way where they'll be able to admit the wrongdoing that they've done. That's how the Most High did, even though they didn't know sin, and only until after they had committed it, which why they were ashamed, thus them trying to cover themselves up and hide, because they know that they had done some nasty things. You know what I mean? That's the reality. But the Most High tried to give them ample opportunity to repent and confess their sins. But they didn't even know how to do that. All they could do was just sit up there. They knew how to sit up there and sin, though, once they had did that, though. But they didn't know how to sit up there and admit to what they had just done, because they were so ashamed of it. They were naked. They knew that they were naked. They knew that they had sinned. They knew that they had sinned, because they didn't feel right at all. But they didn't know enough to... They didn't know enough. You knew enough to sin and do it and like it and take part in it until afterwards. That's when you now know. Oh, you filthy. Oh, I done done something I wasn't supposed to be doing. But then they didn't know enough to try to repent for their transgressions. You know, and he gave them ample opportunity. The Most High did, to try to confess their transgression and what they did, their sins. And they kept on pointing the finger. Adam said, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. She made me do it. And then she said, oh, well, Satan made me do it. And that's still the mold, you know, the mold that we have today in 2020. We still have that. People not accepting responsibility for what they're doing and then trying to dignify it. And that's what Satan likes. He likes people like that. But all I'm saying is that it's never been for us to be disobedient. We were always meant to be obedient to the Most High. Period. Period. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to come down to who's going to be obedient. Who's not only just going to give obeisance to the King of Yisrael, but who will be obedient. Who will be obedient. Who will hearken to his voice when he calls you. Who will hearken to his voice when he tells you to do something and then you do it. Who will hearken to his commands? Peace and blessings, y'all. I love y'all. Stay strong and stay vigilant. And don't let nobody deceive you. And remember, I'm nothing. Don't believe what I got to say. Believe what the Word says. Believe what the Word says. Believe what Yahushua said of Ha'mashiach. Yahushua Ha'mashiach. Believe what he said. And you'll never fail. You'll never fail. I promise you, you'll never fail. Peace and blessings.